Gruff, what kind of shape are you in entering the new season?
Healthy, I believe. I mean, everyone is positive around pre-season. Before obviously the competitive action kicks off, everyone feels they've had a vibrant summer. Physically, I think we're in good nick. We've had the benefits, I think, of 30 plus quality players training for 11-12 week pre-season, which has been refreshing for us. Obviously some of the injured boys coming back from last year, and younger players as well, again a full block of work with us. With the gloss of fixtures over the last couple of weeks and players like Alan Wynne and Biggs and Webby coming back into the environment, it's a nice mix going into the season.
Those guys, when are those people likely to start playing again? Alan Wynne, Dan, Webb?
Yeah, some of those are still discussions with the governing body, but it's in around this first block. People like Biggs and Alan Wynne certainly won't be for a couple of weeks or so, but I think for the most part, it's around just having a chat about the individuals.
Can we expect to see Scott Baldwin and Rees, imminently?
Not with Boulders, no. I mean, again, looking at the cumulative load that someone like Scott had last year, the amount of tests he played, it is about looking at not just the here and now, and as we always do, we consider the player first and then the calendar that's been and the calendar that's ahead again, because it's another unforgiving 10-11 months of rugby.
How much of an inconvenience is this, Griff, that you're heading into a new season minus a tier of international players?
Oh, I guess it is, but that's no different for a lot of sides in the league, I suppose. And Irish rugby, Scottish rugby with less sides has got to deal with it. It's I think another question for the calendar and who does what. But for us, it's also about opportunity that's out there for the players who've trained long and hard in the summer. As I said, I do genuinely believe we've built up more depth since probably last year's Six Nations. We made a breakthrough with a few players coming through, people getting exposure, and we've added to that this summer, I think.
So this weekend, are you looking to have any of your internationals, like Bradley, possibly is he fit? Dan Lydiard, what's the state to play with him? Are any of these guys going to be... Yeah,
Lids is still definitely a little way off, but the others, Bradley and Kingy and one or two others, it is around a couple of discussions taking place behind closed doors. We've obviously not had game time with them. It is about integrating them to game time without compromising some of the teamwork that's taken place already, but we want to obviously get them up to speed with some Osprey work as soon as possible, whilst looking at performances as well.
The Leicester game last week, what were the pluses from there?
You'd probably expect both attacking coaches to be happy, but really I think it wasn't all rosy in the garden. There was a lot of good, certainly line out attack, from delivery to some of our movement and the way we challenged Leicester in different ways. I still feel we've got a little way to go in terms of integrating our skills work with some of our open play themes, but certainly some of the players on the park and the decision making around getting forwards in certain areas and the backs to complement that was really positive. And even our defensive game, there's obviously tries within the first three phases, which is a massive tidy up we've got to address. But beyond that, I think we did have better defensive shape post three phases, and I think that can certainly bode well for this block of work.
This year, can we expect more of the same in terms of your playing style, or will it be anything different?
There's always evolution. I'm pretty comfortable the way, certainly from January onwards, that we added to our attacking game with some of the variation in terms of what we did as a backline, but also just some of our skill execution. We've put, as a lot of sides, had a lot of long hard hours into that, but for us it's challenging every individual player in certain positions on the field, and regardless of number, trying to bring things together where they understand the whole attacking framework, but also where forwards have got to be forwards and backs have been backs. I think we understand that, certainly far more than last year, where we were probably, this time last year doing all and everything. I think certainly since, I'd say January onwards, we've had clear parameters to our game, and we've played good rugby the back end of last year. It's about adding to that, but also bringing a whole game package together on the other side of the ball as well. So where our defence can complement our attack, and vice versa as well.
So presumably you'd be looking for serious improvements in defence this year?
Yeah, I think it's a young group coming through who've got certain things habitually that we've got to perhaps change the defensive system, but knowing that it's a new system helps in some ways, so there's no baggage with it, that Brad has got a fresh voice on things. It challenges some of the senior players as well, which I think is a healthy thing. but it's also making sure that every player understanding the job description of the shirt they're wearing, really, around where they've got to be positionally on the field.
Griff, how have you assessed Keelan Giles Jr., the one out during this summer? Scored a hat-trick. Can we expect to see him in any league matches this season?
Yeah, it's certainly this season. Yeah, I think we're always good in terms of understanding the physical load on these young players coming through. You know, and where from last summer we were the ones who brought Keelan into the senior environment early, and then obviously he's picked up and had a great 12 months since. So we're very supportive of what we're doing off the field with him. But understand it is a rugby spark. He does excite me. There's moments around his attack, his movement, how he sees things pretty quickly, and then has got the physical attributes to take advantage. You know, we'd be naive not to expose him to some rugby at the level he's capable of, but where it's got to fit him, and knowing that there's competition for places, thankfully in those wider channels, we've been craving.
He's not quite ready yet, is he, for the league?
You know, I think with the right people around him and certainly the right fixture, and you could probably look to expose him to certain things. And a lot of it isn't just about the rugby, it's how you preview into the game, what you learn from the games, how you support that sort of work, which is something we're going to do at some point during this season.
You must be fairly pleased with your back three players. You know, the likes of Eli's scored a couple of tries in Leicester. Dav Howells has scored 3 tries this summer. You must be quite pleased. Yeah,
and I think there's dovetailing of a few things. Some, as I said, the sort of attacking layers we added for the back end of last year, you know, alongside some counter-attack principles, which is challenging them to get on the ball and do a little bit more, rather than just, you know, waiting for players on the inside to seize command. And they're coming to an age where they're perhaps maturing as well in terms of Eli. Dav has been with us a while and had his first full summer with us as well, which has made a difference. So understanding where and how he can make a big impression on the game, alongside, you know, Hassler with his usual strong bustling self last weekend. Keelan we've mentioned, and Grabham doing well again in the Leicester home game. You know, there is a nice little mix and hot competition for places.
And Ashley Beck, how do you assess his return?
Again, another good summer. We have to modify some of the work we do with Ashley, you know, but he's a key player for us. You know, obviously we've got to try and, you know, get him on the park and, you know, time his run of games, you know, so that he's not overdone in a training week and we can get the best out of him. Because I think, as I said, we've added some depth around the squad, but, you know, I think we need a fit and healthy Ashley Beck, because he'll make a massive difference, you know, as Leicester's defence saw on the weekend.
What is the state of play with James King?
In terms of
injury and fitness, and when he's resuming?
Yeah, he's with the main group. He's you know, pretty much, you know, thereabouts in terms of being ready to play. Again, it's marrying that up to the people who've been in the shirt pre-season: Cracknell, Bierman, and Tyler the 8, knowing that Baker is in the mix as well. So it's where and how we integrate Kingy, I think, is knowing that he's got a number of tools at his disposal, but being ready for that as well.
And Rob McCusker, what are your plans for Rob? He was signed on a short-term contract. Will he be staying with you into the season? Again,
I think the short term will continue for the next couple of weeks or so, and I think it is something Andy Lloyd and Steve are, you know, having a look at around. Again, still some injuries there and some potential vulnerabilities, and he's done magnificent, to be fair. You know, I've really enjoyed, you know, seeing him just as a certain type of player within the Scarlets, as a, you know, very good destroyer and a certain good ball carrier. But I've enjoyed challenging his breadth of skills, and he's responded positively, which fits in line with how we're playing the game.
Griff, could you outline what the Ospreys' goals are this season? You know, will there be a focus on the Challenge Cup, trying to win it? How are you seeing that, and where do you expect to finish up in the league?
I couldn't give you an outright goal. I think it'd be, you know, naive, considering where other sides are strengthened and where we've got our own ambitions. All we can be is as competitive as we possibly can. Sure, we're ambitious around both competitions we're playing in, and the group we've got won't settle for anything less, but that comes from the way we train, the way we challenge each other, the way as coaches we've got to continue to drive the players and ourselves to improve standards. From last year, there's no two ways about it. That last year, you know, we hope we can put down as a blip, but take the learnings, because, you know, there's a fair few things that we've got to improve on and put something out there the fans can be proud of, and that's one of our first priorities. You know, enjoy our rugby, play a good band of rugby, and, you know, performances will come on the back of that.
And And what have you done to improve matters this summer?
Defensively, we spoke obviously around the other side of the ball, and historically a lot of our work has been around set piece work and trying to put a lot of work on the contact area, our attacking framework, and that has taken up far too much of a percentage of a time when a game is spent both sides of the ball. This summer's probably been more equal, around 50% attack, 50% defence. But even within that, what I've really enjoyed is the challenge of attack versus defence. Every day is competitive, both sides of the ball. So even though if it's a defensive drill in essence, we're doing far more attacking decision making, understand the pictures than we've ever done. Not just with Daniel Bigger, Sam Davis, the obvious decision makers, but getting the players to understand rugby at a different level.
Griff, you had problems in your scrum last season. Can we expect that to be a bit stronger this season perhaps?
Yeah, you'd certainly hope so. I think it's a constant work on for us. We've got front row clinics taking place on a weekly basis, those positional challenges around loose heads pushing each other, tight heads, and hopefully a good clutch of second rows to add a fair bit of weight. We play a pack this weekend that's got a sizable weight around them, so going off the back of Leicester is another huge challenge and a focus point for us to help where, again, defensively, where we need to be strong in the first few phases. A lot of it can come from source. And likewise, I get excited about some of our line-out attack, but also scrum attack can be a good platform for us. We actually scored second most tries in the league from scrum attack last year. A lot of them in the back end of the season as well. So, we're not completely redundant now.
No. And what about Zebre this weekend? What are you expecting from them?
The power base that they've got there in terms of a lot of some players in around the Italian game for a while. Biaggi, Geldenhouse, Furno's back there as a second row, gives them real dynamism and weight around that area of the game. Likewise, Navotti, Ceccarelli, the starting prop, Cicilline on the bench. They are some of the real guys coming through O'Shea's Italian rugby side now at the moment. So they're going to have a real crack at us up front. But also Guidi, the coach, I know he does want to play a bit of rugby, and he's got a good eye for what's around Italian rugby, and some of the young talent in the backs starting to shine. Palazzani at 9 has hurt us before. Kana or Padovani at 10 both challenged the line. Bisseni at 13 is a player that I really like. He's a lively footballer. And Venditti back on the wing. He's a 1v1 guy who always challenges the defensive line as much as anyone. He's done that at Six Nations level. So we've got to go through our process to actually understand, get our basics of our game right, then we can actually open up to a certain level. But we know we're really mindful of the threat they bring.
I know your supporters will be keen for an answer to this one. Have you got any return dates for Dan Bigger and Alan Wynne?
No, not at the moment.
So what, you're operating completely in the dark?
No, we've got our own time framework. The players, I'll give you an example. Our most senior players, the players involved in the matchday squads, and players who've done a big summer have tomorrow off, but they'll continue to come in, Alan Wynne, Biggs, one or two others, to do their extra skills tomorrow, and we'll keep building them up so they get the same amount of training that the others got in pre-season early on. Because I think we've got to look down the line to these boys. We have the same debate in December, why are we overplaying these lads? And so it is about protecting the players, getting the best out of them for the Ospreys for the season, and to support them around the national game and a big season for them.
How do you feel, and that being the case, how do you feel about a potential Lions tour and some of your players playing 5 or 6 games possibly voted on at the end of the season?
I think that's the calendar as it is. I really hope they can succeed internationally, and I want as many as we can to do that. But for us, it is about firstly getting them right for the Osprey shirt at the right time, mixing in with the players around them. And I think we've shown with a collection this year of young, experienced, different mix of players who I'm sure are going to represent the shirt the same way Alan Wynne and Biggs always do.
Tyler Argyle has been playing grade 8 last weekend. Is that where you see his position long term?
Yeah, certainly. I think we've said before that we don't necessarily see him in that engine room in the set piece sort of game. He's got all the attributes to be a dynamic number 8, as well as we saw the line-out game was successful, having him in the different area of the line-out last week, and I really enjoyed seeing him in those wide channels, but also on the contacts. He's abrasive in that area, and I think he can and will contribute more in that 8 slot.
After last season's slow start on Pro 12, do you feel a bit under pressure to start well this season?
we're mindful of it, and it has been referenced a couple of times, but in terms of this given week is about being excited about week 1, being home of the Liberty, you know, and people coming out to support us and seeing, as I said, some real positive rugby, you know, regardless of who we play and what's next week. This week is the focus for us, and we're, you know, damn excited about that.
Mark McCall said the length of the season is ludicrous due to the British Islands at the end of it. What's your make of this?
Oh, as I said to Mark there, you deal with the hand you've got, and as I said, we've got a plan for the individual players who may and hopefully will come through those international windows in good health, and we'll just manage our competitions and sort of the season around it to get the best out of them in an Osprey shirt, but you know, give them every chance to succeed as well nationally. It's not easy because the challenges are there, as McCall has said, but we just get on with it.
And come to the end of the season, how would you define the success?
I think that we went out there, you know, I think we put ourselves into a position where every week, regardless of the end of the week, win or loss, that our training was at a level where, you know, we're strong of minds, strong of application, and the results take care of themselves from that. As I said, there's aspects of that weren't there last year, and the results showed that. You know, I'm probably boring you, but the cliche is, you know, week in, week out, get the process right, and hopefully there's enough talent and structure within what we do to be able to flourish.